So I'm going to keep that go live button. Clicky, clicky, clicky. Close other tabs as well. Right, it tells us that we're live. So let me find the script and suddenly get a load more energy from God knows where. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Howdy.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that airs the week of the 12th of April to the 18th of April, 2021. With a solitary exception of VLADLOVE, Episode 10, Fiancé's a Frankenstein's Monster.
Whoa.
In which we meet Mai's fiancé, who is a Frankenstein's monster.
A stylized one.
Not a zombie.
Yeah.
No. But he's more like externally powered golem, if we're going to get technical about it.
Yes. Yeah, so new member of the class. He quickly... Well, he struggles to give blood, and then they realise they haven't plugged him in.
Not particularly in the blood, don't need no monster blood, because there's like 20 dudes, apart to 20 dudes in this guy. And I like the colorism, like those posters that person did of the kaiju. You can see the internal workings of how Godzilla works.
Yeah, that was a nice reference to those the style of those ones.
Yeah.
I feel like the design of his face must be a reference as well.
Like specifically
the
the pattern going down his nose and everything. Yeah.
I was thinking it was more like the shape of his nose and the shape of his chin. I was like, it feels like a caricature of somebody. And unlike other episodes, they didn't explain it to us.
They're generally so kind in doing that. Yeah.
They are, yes. And I just guess it took it as read as you knew what Frankenstein was, and particularly the movie version of Frankenstein. So apparently she'd run away from home because she didn't like another one of her stepmothers, this one being like the 28th or something stepmother she'd had, and then encountered this Frankenstein's monster.
In Holland?
Handed her a flower. Yes, in Holland, apparently. Handed her a flower.
She handed him a flower, and that's...
Oh, she handed him a flower.
Because that's vampire for a proposal, I think. Yeah.
Yes. And we're getting all the various reactions of the girls to this story.
And the boys who have been helpfully labelled, and sometimes their face has been completely blanked out by a label.
Because we know you're going to forget these dudes, so here's a little reminder. He seems like a stand-up guy, though. He could be good for her, because he's very strong. He can run like over 100 miles an hour. He cannot run a train. He's got the brains of like a bunch of geniuses up in there, so he's really good. He can beat Super Mario Bros. Really quickly, speedrun it like nothing. He's amazing. This guy's pretty class.
But it is a love rival though for our main character, so bit of a problem.
It is. We also learn about his genitals.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Well, there's like a bunch of heroes. It's like, oh, you should see this guy's jaw. Check it out. Nope, sorry. I said that, but actually, it's for teenagers. But I can say that it is very, very well put together.
Yes, and then she flashes him, and blood spurts out of more holes than just noses. So this was her assessment that he was a perfectly fit boy.
Healthy young man.
Healthy young man. And she builds a battery. He can be charged up and hold a charge. If you charge him for 3 hours, he can move around without having to be plugged in for 3 minutes.
I mean, like, they're not impressed, but it is an improvement of needing to be constantly plugged in.
Yes.
Little car batteries are getting better all the time.
And Bamba puts her foot down in a way that Atari probably should have done more often in Eurosite Sura, that he's not going to stay at their house, so he has to just go in a locker at the school.
They treat him worse than a Roomba, I believe is the way they put it.
Yes.
Until that night. The night of the big big thunderstorm.
Yes, which the school gets hit by lightning, which then supercharges him through the bolt on the top of his head, which he didn't used to have.
That's how she didn't
as is pointed
recognize
out
it,
during
wasn't
the
it? Because
flashback.
he had
Yes.
he had a bolt on top of his head. Oh, I thought it was just a different guy.
And this causes him to go to various modes because it turns out, while he seemed very nice, even though he had the bottom half of athletes, the middle part of a wrestler, the top part of quantum scientists and musicians, they were all criminals.
Well, he's a genius. She's an evil genius.
So like the first one's like Incredible Hulk, right?
Just Hulk Klaus. She's big, burly dude smashing stuff.
And then there's
he's Franken-88, and then Franken-Hulk is the second one.
That's it. Yeah, I was trying to get the order of it right.
And then Mackie does show up to kindly make all the movie references.
Yes.
Like War of the Gargantuas and whatever the Toho Frankenstein movie's called.
Yeah.
Like Frankenstein destroys the world.
Conquers the world, I think so.
I
think so, yeah. And he goes on a rampage, but it turns out all he wanted to do was give Mai a flower as well.
So sad. I had to unscrew him, depower him, and stuff him back away. This is forlornly.
And eventually take him out for a use in an episode 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Because the continuity, this is all fucked.
And there is also the visual metaphor which suggests that his impressive genitalia has not survived the night. Because it pans down to where the flower he was going to give Mai has withered, but it's like not centered on the flower, it's centered on his crotch.
The sensor bar is smaller, basically. Yeah.
Maybe you try to go for it, I think. When Ang Lee, another auteur director, was making his Hulk film, he was saying, no, the pants are going to come off as well. It wouldn't be realistic. It's like, no, Ang Lee, he's going to have pants. No, there's no trousers. No, there's no getting past this, all right?
One of the key Incredible Hulk things. You need to wear pants.
Yeah, this was the, I think, probably the most self-censorship they've done in an episode. But
also a weird little moment there when, like, Maya's half asleep, and Bama's like, okay, let's put you to bed. Let's get that night shirt off you. And she's having fun saying, oh, yeah, put me to bed, Daddy. It's just...
It's weird vibes all over. And obviously,
wrong.
That's the
comprised. I think Bama's probably a little bit into it right now. It's like yeah. I could get on board with this. We'll see. Damn teenagers.
Then let's go and speak about some other damn teenagers. Tell me all about Fruits Basket episode 2. That's an unwavering truth.
This is more about fucking goddamn. What's he meant to be? 25-year-olds who should know a lot better.
That's the worst part of the show. It's like, hey, grown ass adults and kids, that's a thing that should work together. I'm like, no. And it just like it makes like text, it makes implied text thing. It's like people sleeping with each other. They literally just fucking say it. No implication, no more.
Yeah. So it's following on from a little bit from last time. Was Toro was she's got this secret now, got this knowledge, got to tell somebody. But we just know like who would even say it to. Kevin say it to Kyo at school because it feels like he could want to kind of unloading on him, but she tries to kind of bring it up, but he's kind of like one saying, I don't know. So I don't know anything about that. He thinks she's fun and put her foot right in it, but
yeah, he thinks he's putting. Sorry. She's given a theoretical situation where it's like, I want to tell him that there is a way to break it, but I don't know how yet, because he's one of the guys who wants to break the curse. But
just doesn't know who to report. She figures I might be since she's aware of that. But like talked about it, they think, oh fuck it, let's speak to Ren again, or Rin even.
Because she wants to break it as well.
You're all up for all about doing that before, but she's been like out of school again, back in the hospital again. What's that all about? We wonder. But the main bulk of it here is getting closer, like showing a little bit more of the weird relationship that Shigure and Akito have. This goes back a long way because there's this like devotion there as being part of the Zodiac or Shigure. Even though there's a fuse between them, that He feels this devotion to Akito because you're the god of the thing. So I'll always be with you. I'll always be by your side. And I'll always love you. Kind of a way, but it gets just kind of weirder than Shigure doesn't want anything to do with being in a household. He's been pretty clear about that. He wants out of this. But he still, in a twisted sort of way, cares about Akito. And kind of like, I want to be with you, Akito, but I don't want to be with you like this. I want to be fucking out of this. But you're the one who's still trying to hold us all down together in this. And that's not the way I want it. That's why I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I also fucking hate you, and I kind of want to watch you squirm a bit.
Yeah, it's put into perspective of a conversation at the start of the episode he's having over the phone with a former rooster boy, where it's like, I love her, but that means I'll do anything to protect her, and also I want to make her fucking hurt, basically, which is super fucked up, but that's most relationships in this fucking thing in some regard.
It's also super messed up that Shigure, he's the dog. You know, he's a dog for a reason. We're about fucking getting it with Akito. It's also been fucking in bed with the mother as well. It's just, where does it end with you, man?
And he was doing that as like a twisted kind of sense of revenge, because it's like, well, you slept with Thing. It's like, and he's like, well, you slept with the rooster guy, and she's gonna like, well, I can do whatever I want. I'm the god. Y'all have to love me anyway. And it's just like, yeah, you're not getting it, so I'm gonna fucking bounce. So it's not. It's like, yeah, toxic all over and betrayal all over, but it's getting bogged down in that. I did like the B plot of them making paper flowers. I needed some fucking lightness.
It'll hold some little bit, you know. And there's dumb shit going on because it's the third years who are graduating. So a lot of them, like the former president of the student council and the fan club, is like, how can I go to college knowing I'll be away from my beloved Yuki?
Yeah. Everyone's trying to grab one of Yuki's flowers as a souvenir, and then Kyo's like, fucking, why do I have to make up for Yuki's ones? You can just use my pile. He looks to his pile. Where's my fucking pile of flowers gone? Because he also has a secret fan club. It's like, lots of fun stuff there.
All them handsome boys, you know. In a way, also a different sort of twisted relationship, but played for laughs.
Because it's like kids and kids, it's not as bad. Yeah.
Did a good job of conveying the menace of it. God, so it's just a kind of.
It's not presented as a healthy thing or romantic thing. It's like, this is fucked. All of this is fucked right here.
Just the kind of the color scheme in it there in towards the end, you know, when there's the latest big Soma family meeting and Shigure is coming in, you know, long after most of the crowd is dispersed, and just like the color of it there was very kind of intimidating. And then, like, you know, when I'm God, you know, I'm this and that, and do what I want. It's just like, yeah, you're God, I know that. Oh, you look really nice in a suit, you know, and it's like you're this big masculine presence, but you're meant to be the kind of powerful one. But I'm completely like in charge of you in this sort of scenario. This is where I am the one who's got the power over you. It's, again, really weird thing. And as fun as Shigure is, you know, as being kind of the wacky uncle at home, you get reminded, like, this is like it's hammered home, but like, he's not that nice of a person, really.
He is also the creepy uncle, yeah.
And as much as Toru was sort of wavering in a sense of how right does it feel for her to be trying to break this up, if it's a support group some of them have, some of them will probably be better off out of it. Some of them want out of it, and some of them kind of cling on to it, but it isn't a great setup for anybody. And whether they realize they're not, the guy got out of this, because it's fucking up their whole lives perpetually across generations. So, you know, maybe we should meet up at Rin and figure out a plan with more school shenanigans next week, you know, getting the crazies on the student council back and all that. So again, maybe a bit of levity, just to
balance it out a little. Yeah, sure.
Look, have lower stakes family romantic drama going on. But Jerry was kind of good. Again, it's like the sense of intimidation. I did feel uncomfortable just kind of watching it in certain scenes, which is like, this may be kind of cute kind of romantic comedy thing. It was also very, very harrowing in this drama scenes. So it's just keeping that up as well.
Then we've got Odd Taxi, Episode 2, How to Spend a Long Night.
Just perfect fun here. Nothing weird or untoward.
Yes, nothing having all our character stories all joined up in ways they aren't necessarily aware. So we open up with is it Shika the monkey? I saw the characters voiced by Kappa Yamaguchi, so I assume that is the monkey. It is, yes. So Shika and Odakawa, the walrus, are at the sauna, and Shika's trying to get the details of Odakawa of what happened when he picked up Miho Shirakawa, the alpaca, the previous night. And we go flashback to, or earlier in the night rather, flashback to what's happening there, and we see she's got an amazingly smooth move.
Oh, that was fucking, that was so fucking styling.
I was like, oh, god damn, I can think of various occasions that move would have been useful.
So, like, she's asking him questions, and he's just like, what the fuck is this, like 20 questions or whatever, and it's like, so he starts throwing some of those questions back at her to keep the conversation going. So, like, one of her questions, like, is there anyone you like? And he's like, I'm too old for that kind of stuff. And it's like, is there anyone you like? He asked back her eventually, and she's like, oh yeah, there's someone I like. And he's like, it's like, what's he look like? And what's he like? And he's like, oh, he's hard to describe. And he's like, have you got a picture of him? And she's like, I do. I was like, oh, fucking, can I see it? Because I'm going to take the piss out of the doc because I'll know who your crush is and everything. And she slips him the phone, and it's in fucking selfie mode. And I was just like, oh, that's smooth. That's so fucking smooth.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just,
But she's stealing drugs.
Yeah.
From the hospital.
No, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has pros and cons.
Because part of their questioning thing is like, you have any regrets or anything like that? And she's like, yeah, I wish I hadn't taken out as much of a student loan for the nursing college. And he's like, oh, have you not got that paid back yet? And she's like, no, I haven't paid back. And it's like,
yeah, I rewatched episode 1, and we see her handing something off to the monkey before we learn that she's stealing stuff from the hospital.
Yeah,
like much earlier in the episode, even before you know who those characters are, basically.
Yeah, the opening thing where she's in that room full of drugs and putting things in her bag while the lights are off, and then leaving the hospital, and the doc turns around and goes like, oh, what's she doing in so late? But without saying anything. And I was like, oh my god, this is fucking class.
Yeah, the opening has got loads of clues in it as well.
Yeah. It even has the guy from this episode who buys a bunch of lottery tickets, and now you get the context for that.
Yes. Then we go back to we're in the baths again, in the sauna rather, and there's a tapir with Yakuza tats all over him in the background. I mean, he's on the character list, so he's going to show up again at some point. He doesn't have any interaction with them at the moment. But
no, he just happens to go to the sauna on the same night. Yeah,
I did see who's voicing him. He's going to talk in this next episode. It is the guy who voices Kiryu from the Yakuza
games. Do what you know. Yeah.
And then the monkey gets a response on his not Tinder app after he'd changed how much money he was making in the previous episode. And it's from an 18-year-old woman. And he's 41, has been established.
Yeah, and he's super excited by this. But also, she's very distinct calico markings on her, doesn't she?
Yes, remember those calico markings for later in the episode. Then the hippo's looking at his social media. We briefly check in with him.
I liked his framed tweet. It was like, this was the one that went viral.
Because his next one has not gone viral. And he's annoyed at... there's a character we forgot to mention from the previous episode. Because there's a famous Rakugo performer who appeared as a talking head when they're discussing the missing teenage girl. And then the alpaca gave the walrus a unique eraser of him.
It's like this is an eraser of him. It's like one of his merch. It's like, it's the only one in the world, and he's kind of like, why do you have it? Very strange. Yeah.
So assuming he's going to have a bigger part to play somewhere down the line. We don't spend much time with Hippo. He's just a bit depressed because we have to spend a lot more time at the Idol show. I can't remember what they call Mysterious Kiss or something.
Yeah, Mystery Kiss,
Mystery
I think, or
Kiss,
something like that.
yes.
Yeah.
Who are 3 cats. No, 2 cats and a dog. Lead singer's a poodle.
Yeah.
Lead singer's a poodle. Rui
And you got a
Nikaido.
calico and a black cat.
Yes.
As backup dancers, but I mean, like generally they wouldn't be backup dancers, except they're all wearing masks, so they're clearly like in the background of the band.
Yeah, and the show's over, but one of the fans is hanging around Imai, who's a skunk. Is it all right? Would you
I think
say?
he's a skunk because he has the white.
Yes, it would make sense just for the Pepe Le Pew-ness of it all. They're a lot more innocent than Pepe is.
Yeah. Because I mean, like she knows this guy, she knows him by name. She's like thanking him because this is obviously the meet and greet kind of thing. But he's been even the manager recognized him. It's like this guy was there at their first gig, and he's like been following them back when they were fucking tiny. And she's like, I was like, oh man, we've already done the heart hand pose. We've already done the thing. It's how about I give you a hug for this photo? And he's like, fucking yeah, that sounds great. So she seems like maybe fond of this guy, or at very least keeping him going as a fan.
Because it may be that he knows things that he may figure something out that they don't want him to figure out.
And he's certainly doing that here because he's pointing out as like, hey, the black cat is like her dancing's like really, it's not as good as it used to be, and like is she off? And it's like, oh, she has to like work overtime and do extra things, so she's probably just tired. And he's like, oh yeah, that sucks. Because he's complimenting her, but he's like, oh, but they're great too, but not as great as you. You know, he's very much so into the pool.
But yeah, as we see him thinking back on her the Black Cat's earlier career, we see that she was a different shade. She was more of a grey cat when he's thinking back.
And she had a different colour eyes, which would match her current mask. I was up till like 6 a.m. because I couldn't sleep again. And I was just fucking like, I'm figuring all this fucking shit out, man. I'm putting it together.
Yeah, and it's got different, slightly different tufts of hair on the character design. And then if you watch the opening credits, there's 2 cats in the opening credits, one darker furred, one grey furred, and it's the grey furred one is shown in the cupboard at his house.
And there's a couple of like hinting clues, like I said, the calico's mask is orange eye markings, like her orange eyes, whereas her one has blue markings, whereas she has green eyes, but in his flashback she has blue eyes. And I'm like, they just got to fucking fill her in. And when they're having a conversation because they have to sell extra merch because they're not the mainstays of the band, the manager apologizing, the black cat's talking to the other one like it's her, she's like calls her senpai and everything. It's like, because you're the older, more experienced one here. And I was like, you guys have been in the band from the get-go together, why are you talking to her like
and
this?
They're contractually obliged to wear masks.
Yeah.
And when they're outside, the manager and Rue are discussing the need to get the record of the taxi cab camera.
Because he's getting a call. It's like, what's that? Oh, a dash cam. Okay. Yes. What's he look like? You know, and it's just like, oh, it's nothing you need to worry about. And it's just like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. So,
that's interesting.
Then it all joins back up to Odakawa because Odakawa comes and picks Imai up. And we get some comedy with them of Imai not having enough money to get to the train station.
It's like, how far can I get for like 2,500? And it's like, if you want to get to the train station, that's like 3,500. And it's like, that's all I got, buddy. Come on, you're breaking my balls. It's like, I take you as far as that'll fucking get you. But he's spending, jumping out of the taxi at the end is going like, oh, I'm going to spend the rest of my money on lottery tickets. And it's like, motherfucker, you had more money. He's a little shit.
And then he picks up the Homo sapiens, his favourite Manzai duo.
I think they're funnier in person, honestly.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah. I think that's part of the gag. Is that
on the show they're kind of like fairly flat and like kind of whining and stuff, but in person they're actually like they're playing off each other and they're not. It's like, oh, I'm doing a bit right now. I'm really annoyed with you. It's like, we should do this on stage. What are you doing?
And then they take a phone call, which seems to indicate one of them's career is going better. The one who's putting himself down might have a better career than his senior in the partner. Yeah, his senior in the partnership. We guess we'll see how that plays out. If you look on the character map on the website, you can see that there's another Manzai team, of which we've seen one of them in episode 1, at I presume either a radio station or a TV station where the monkey works as a janitor.
Yeah, yeah. We saw him in the first episode. I'm so glad you pointed that out to me because it makes me feel less crazy. Or at the very least, the fact that they've made the string board for me. I was like, okay, they want me to do this. That's fine then. I'm okay.
Oh yeah. They're well ahead. It's one of these shows which has a big old relationship chart already mapped out before the show starts. And then the final person to get in the taxi is the other monkey who pulls a gun. And that's where we've left.
And the fact that I have not watched it means I am a patient man.
Yes, because I saw it came up earlier today, and I was like, "God damn, yeah." Yeah, definitely. There's more stuff. Particularly watching the music video for the opening makes you think, "Oh yeah, they're all." He's just seeing them as animals. All their personalities are being represented by animals for our benefit, because they have cameos of voice actors playing the characters from the show, but in live action in the video. And when the singers get picked up by Otakawa, he looks in his mirror and sees them. He sees
them in the rearview mirror as animals, even though they're people in the back of his cartoon taxi.
Yeah, and I feel like all the talk about "We Are the World" is another hint as well. That it's our world.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be in the theme because they keep fucking bringing it up.
Because that's the other thing she brings up. Shirakawa, she thinks that Sydney Dorper was the MVP.
Yeah.
Listen to our music, guys.
Dude, I am watching the giraffe who's connected to no one on the interconnected chart, but he has a podcast. Where he's got a wiretap on various conversations that are happening. Now, the first one was just the doctor and our taxi driver having a conversation. I was just like, I can't really get this. The second one was like a conversation from the band back, the idol group back in the old days. And I was just like, oh, there's fucking hints here about the taxi driver and shit. And I was like, but it is auto-translated, so I'm barely understanding what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. I notice the gorilla, the monkey, and the walrus are all 41. So I wonder if
I think they're all classmates
together.
or something. Yeah. That seems to be the implication.
And interesting enough, the tapir and the Rakugo guy are both 58. So I wonder if they're somehow connected.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We've not met the porcupine man yet, have we? Who's in the opening credits?
Yeah, but he is connected to the other mafia guy, so I'm guessing he's mafia.
And there's like a video games guy we've not met either in the opening credits. I think they're the two other big characters featured in the opening credits that we've not run into yet. But it looks like there's loads of other characters who are going to show up in various ways. Yeah, this is... I'm glad you watched it, Dwayne, because I think this is my favourite thing this season now.
I'm sorry for adding more to the fucking pile, but I'm not sorry for watching it.
That's why I'm steadfastly not listening to the people who are telling me that Mars Red's great and To Your Eternity is great.
Yeah.
It's like...
it probably fucking is. I do not doubt you. I just don't have the time in the fucking day. Yeah,
and I don't. This is because of its twisty. I was like, saw people compare it to Twin Peaks, which I was like, what? And then after the second episode, I guess it kind of is because you're not necessarily. It's the interconnectedness, and it gives you enough to think about with the story for a week. That your gears keep on grinding after you finish watching it.
Like tonally not the same, but structurally similar. Yeah. And an underlying mystery that you're trying to solve as you're watching it.
Yes. So, and you're not even entirely sure what the mystery is yet.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. It's less obvious about it.
Because ostensibly it's this missing high school girl, but it feels like there's so much more than that. It's like, has she gone missing on her own accord rather than someone make her go missing?
Yeah.
Because that was the impression I got from the first episode, that whoever's hiding in the cupboard has perhaps broken into his house and is hiding there rather than him.
Yeah, because he's like, himself. You can just fucking leave. I'm not gonna hold you against your will. The door's open. Like when he's just like, all right, fine, whatever. Which suggests more so that she's hiding, if it is in fact the same thing, or if it's just trying to imply that it is. Yeah.
But they've definitely switched a cat out in the lineup of that band. Yeah, and I guess we'll see how the other cat carried on a date with the monkey goes.
Yeah, I'm hoping she is actually older than 18 because it's implied that she is much older than that. But even then, he's still probably too old for her by a considerable margin. Oh, dear.
Next up is... What have we got next? It is Zombieland Saga Revenge, Episode 2, The Saga of an Almost Broken Radio. It is a Saki episode. And I was like, oh yeah, it's like the first episode, like, reset it all and like reminded you of the manager. I was like, oh yeah, I need to remember who all these other characters are now.
Yeah, it seems to be doing that, so that's good.
And more importantly, it was like, oh, which era did they all die in? That was the bit I was really struggling to remember. It's like, oh yes, it was 90s, and it was like a Fonz style motorcycle stunt which went wrong.
I was happy to see a Saki episode. I think she's my favourite one of the group as well. Sure. She is a delinquent. So much of a delinquent that she is rebelling against death itself, walking the earth.
And they're trying to get on TV. Well, they're getting on TV by doing this local tourism thing with this DJ from the area.
The fact that this show is still so much an advertisement for the fucking area is very, very funny to me.
Yes.
They're having fun with it as well.
Yeah.
Because the dude that got in White Ryu, Hyaku Ryu, he's a real figure. He was like he was in a band. He had a couple of songs. He mostly appears as this heavy this kind of dude in Yakuza films. He did some voice acting. He played Tonagawa in the first series of Kaiji, and he's this caricatured here as like this dude with a massive pompadour. And back in the day, it was just like this proud thing. It was like about 2 feet out past his head. But time makes fools of us all, and he shows up to do this tourism video, and it's kind of it's lost a bit of his definition here. He has to kind of go like, "Hey, what's up?" But he hasn't lost any of that kind of easygoing outlaw charm. It's like, "Oh, I hear the wind calling my name, and it blew me here."
Yeah. I mean, like, his hair has seen better days, but the fact that he still rides around everywhere by riding on the front windscreen of a Cadillac is still pretty badass.
With a silent chauffeur. I don't think that character says anything in the entire show.
No, all he does is put down a suitcase so he can step down from the Cadillac. It's a very good bit. He's a very fun character.
Yeah, and Saki's mad about this too because she listened to him on the radio back when she was alive, and he had some wisdom, man. He knew what it was all about, man. He had me all figured out.
He was speaking to the folks who nobody was talking to, and it spoke to her heart, and that opened her up to get involved in a brawl and meet her best friend.
Yeah, if you think you're alone out there, you're getting beaten up by all the local toughs. Well, you're going to find someone else to do who's also getting involved in balls, beat up the local toughs. You're going to get into a fight together. You're going to fight your way out of this world.
And thankfully, he's a nice person still, because the episode of Great North this week had a very similar plot, but it turned out their hero from the past had feet of clay. It was not the person they thought he was.
Yeah, this one does it. Like, I've seen this kind of episode before where you meet your hero and it's like, oh, never meet your heroes. They're all, like, you see the humanity to them. But with this, it's like meeting your hero is bad because your hero's like, well, I'm going to retire because I'm old as balls. And she's very much so like, no, you can't do that. We need you. Saga needs you.
Yes.
You're the ones who are going to take over from me.
Don't worry about it. Like I always say, the answer is always in Saga.
Yes.
Yeah. Blow it on the wind. They bust into his radio show. I mean, one of them unwillingly. But and I loved all the producers in the back of the radio show were like, no, don't say they're taking over the show because then we'll have to do it.
We launched into his spiel though, like Kalki he's going up, and then the silent chauffeur to say, because you don't see him talk, we do see him react. He's just like in tears, just like, it's beautiful, man. You still got it, man.
So he's gonna retire from keeping Saga's lifeblood going because he's gonna leave that to the youth. But he is gonna go across the world and bring Saga to the entire world.
Yeah, man.
Which is our final shot. Of him driving.
Amazing.
Through the desert on the front of his car. And then we get like the slightly sad ending for Saki is because he tells her to come back and find him when she's a full-grown woman. Then she realizes, oh, that's never going to happen because I'm a zombie. We can't Get older, which is a nice flip of the earlier joke of when they're climbing up to the inner temple, and they're like, well, I bet if we weren't zombies, this would be really tiring.
Yeah, and they do set it up multiple times in the episode, because when she convinces the entire band to start doing sit-ups because it'll make them fucking ripped, and it's just like, oh yeah, she's really good at getting people going. It's like, can zombies even exercise? We're not fucking 100% on this.
So I know in Gunbuster, did it need to be skipping rope inside the robot? Don't know, but it's good for the reflexes, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is that what the time limit they were referring to in the previous episode was?
Oh, they're...
Eventually, I mean, for some of them, they could probably pass off that they're getting older, but Lily, it's going to be tricky.
Yes.
Unless they keep on putting her in successively heightened shoes to make her an inch taller every year.
For Saki, I think he was feeling, because Kuryu, he was like, this character who's outside of his time now. He's still sort of like doing this old-fashioned routine, old-fashioned lifestyle in the same day. And Saki as well, he's also displaced from the time that she was meant to be growing up in, you know, and they both feel like they're this world has moved past them, or the world that they had before.
Yeah.
We've moved on past that, and it's difficult to find your place in it. So while she's found her place in the band, you know, and she's happy to have that there, she feels like, oh, there was this life that I'm never going to know about now because I died. But I came back to life, so I just got to play the hand you're dealt, I suppose. But it's still a bit poignant.
And then it's offset by your other girl just bursting into tears as well, because she's bursting into tears.
Why are you crying? I'm crying because of the existential crisis I'm having about never growing old from being a zombie. It's like, I'm crying because you're crying. It's like, oh, that's nice.
There's some
then we got
some good bad TV when they were making the tourism video.
Yes, yeah, like the constant tapping to the fucking cue cards and everything. Which the cue cards weren't like, read this. It was like, here's general directions of what to do.
Do a cute segue to the chopstick holders.
And the director going, when your man's like, oh, we got to go to the inner temple. We can't just stay at this tourist fucking shit. This is like the surface level thing. And him going like, it's an extra fucking bit of shooting on the top of a mountain. And then when he does like the cool guy bit, it's like, we made it to the true fucking thing. And it's like the director's like, oh, this is all fucking great. This is all going in.
It's the nice character touches of the ones who actually have pre-death idle experience are the ones who can hold it together on the TV.
Yeah.
Whereas Sakura is constantly losing it because she doesn't know what to do.
Set new urban legends as well, because when they speed down to the radio station, they go on the bicycle, but the tire on the back wheel is just shreds off of it, and it's just throwing up sparks. And that poor policeman again, he's like the fucking two undead women riding his flaming bicycle in the dead of night at 100 miles an hour.
The only thing he can say, the only thing he can charge them for is like, hey, no sitting on the handlebars kind of thing. It's just like, that's not allowed. And all that's left of the bike is the fucking handlebars by the end of it.
fucking deathly rider from hell has come by. He's still professional.
I always forget that he's voiced by the guy who played Meow in Space Dandy, that cop. And Present Mike in My Hero Academia. Then, what have we got next? We've got DYNAZENON, Episode 3, What is a Traitor? Hey, Galma, why won't you tell us why you're doing the things you do? Well, it's because I'm a character from Episode 18 of Gridman, and it's so embarrassing that I'm doing this all for a woman.
All the reactions to it's just like, hey, is this person you really want to meet again? Is it a guy or is a woman? They're all like, yeah, I get it. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's all the dramatic reveal. There's like the ridiculous dramatic reveals of, oh yes, by the way, we're 5,000 years old. We've been reborn in your time. And
the fact that your man just meets him at school is like, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time?
Quick chat, I just fucking massive like silver trench coats, like we're 5,000-year-old beings, but we just want to come back to our side. It's pretty straightforward stuff,
Yeah, it's like the three of the kaiju Genesis seem perfectly reasonable. It's just the one who seems like an absolute asshole.
Yeah, like he seems like, oh, let's just talk to them and see if we can just talk this out. The other two are like, can we just fucking go? Can we just leave? I feel like leaving right now. And the other guy's like, oh, we could just kill them at school. And it's like, Dude, what do you like? No, we can't do that. That's weird. If we're going to kill them, it'll be with a giant monster. Obviously, that's how these things are done.
So like when in the middle of the giant monster fight, everyone's got to go like they're in the left arm or the leg and stuff like that, and we can't quite get the microphone. That's because not being straight with us, dude. Start the fight right now. Start the fight right now. Gamma, what's going on, buddy? You gotta live with us.
It was great. Yeah, we're not combining this robot until you tell us what's up.
Yeah, we can combine our hearts because you're not fucking giving us the scoop, man. What's going on with you? It was very good bits. And also, like, this thing creates explosions. So it's like, where doesn't have air to explode? Space. Let's take this fight to space.
That shows us as well because this is different to Gridman because this is definitely set. It's not. It seems to me at least to be in a digital world because they go up into space past the city.
You can see planet Earth. It's not one town. Yeah.
So helpful. Thankfully, Twitter helped me out and pointed me in the direction of that Gridman episode and the reveal that Galma is apparently Cyber Mummy from that episode. Who was a real world thing. He was, he's a Chinese mummy from 5,000 years ago, and he had a load of various bits and pieces at the museum along with his mummified body, and they're all the bits and pieces from this show that he's carrying around with him. The dragon sculpture is straight out of that episode.
Yeah.
Are they saying like a little, like a jade dragon sculpture or whatever? It was the equivalent of like a combining robot today. Just like, it's a toy you carry around in your pocket. Yeah.
And apparently, yes, it was like people from that time could control kaiju. I was like, it's literally what's going on in this show, which does suggest that this is in the real world, I guess. Unless there's extra layers to the reality and unreality of the situation. But yeah, I did enjoy that. I was just like, it's all very well Evangelion can make allusions to Jerry Anderson shows and Ultraman. It's even more fun when you can just go, this is part of the mythos, and we're directly pulling things straight out of it.
It's just really cool that here's that one episode I thought they just didn't do enough with, man. And it's going to now it's finally come around. I'm in a position to make choices about these things and influence it. I want to this about that episode. Cyber Mummy did not get his due. We gotta give him some more.
And then it makes all the sense of his character design with the bandages around his chest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the little element of the suggestion of rebirth. So then Yumi Minami is thinking on that, and she's that's obviously thinking, can I somehow use whatever power brought these guys back 5,000 years later to bring my dead sister back?
Because they do say it's like we died 5,000 years ago. So it wasn't that we went into stasis 5,000 years ago. So I was like, so you guys did fucking die. So I was like, okay.
Thanks, making a lot more sense now.
Yes. Yeah.
And we also learned that Kayomi, the unemployed NEET, was formerly friends with the co-worker at the shop where Yomogi works. They run into her, and his cousin's like, do you fancy her?
Oh crap, I found out what robot she is and now I've forgotten.
And then we get a flashback to them as teenagers, and he ran across her hurling a brick through the school window by the looks of things. And she made him promise to keep quiet about it. So it's like, those two, he's getting a little bit more information about him, because obviously he's not as focused on as the other two, because
he's the least developed. But there's obviously shit going on with him.
Yes, it was this episode where it was a female teacher reading out the Greek philosophy in the school. I was like, every time.
Well, they're all talking about various iterations of Zeno's paradox.
Yeah. That appears to be like the main.
What's the first one?
There was Achilles and the tortoise, and then they talk about the arrow. Then
but the first one was about comparing. It was a comparison of two philosophical positions. It wasn't about a paradox in the first one, I don't think.
Yeah, I think that paradox, or that I think about from a discussion and comparison between two philosophers. I just need to look back up myself actually. Just, I guess, bear in mind the thing about getting closer to something but never actually getting there. That's probably something they're going to keep going back to.
So that's the elder one in the shop. It's Fractal, which is a recolor of Pterosaur, which is weird because that seems to be another character in it. Yeah. I think it's because of the hair split down the middle.
Oh, the apron.
Yeah, right? Okay.
I see.
It's a weird take, but all of them are weird takes. Dear.
Anyway, another great episode. I'm like, do I like this more than Gridman? No, I think I like them the same because Gridman's got other things going for it. It's got junk. It's got the mum. I did take a look at a little bit of that Gridman episode. It's got a similar of what I was talking about. The cramped 90s tokusatsu house is definitely in effect there as well. So it's definitely a feel they're correctly bringing over.
Like, I suppose I'll have to wait until the whole thing's done to see if I like it more. But, like, since watching Gridman, like, you're kind of more... after watching Gridman, you're more, like, fully on board with this and what it's bringing to. It's easier to kind of get. Like, I fucking love the transformation bit. And, you know, you get the chorus going, DYNAZENON! DYNAZENON! And it's just like, fucking, yeah, okay, I'm on board for all this. This is great.
Then we've got Back Arrow, episode 15. What will the riots produce? Exactly what Rudolph wants them to produce is what it is.
I'm fucking glad they finally explained him shooting down that bird. I was like, oh, thank God. That makes sense.
Please, God, yeah. They couldn't just leave that sitting there. Thank God somebody said something about that.
Yeah.
So Grand Edger United is they're having to get their power back, so they're having a big old party while they wait. Thinking that everything's going great because there's no way to communicate everything which is going terribly back at Luto. As the civilians are hurling stones at the princess, demanding justice.
They demand the head of Marie Antoinette, yeah.
And then it's made much worse when the ringleaders are stomped on by Back Arrow.
That was hilarious, honestly.
I'm Butch, the Butcher, and I'm here to say that being a giant robot is a terrible way. And then gets stepped on immediately. And it's like, oh, is he okay? It's like just blood smear. It's like, no, he's not okay. Oh my God, he's stepping on Butch's brother.
Oh, Butch's brother and his daughter-in-law.
Oh, his dog got kicked into the sea. It was just very funny. I was like, whoa, okay, that was a bit of a turn.
Oh, it's the same director as Code Geass. He pulled almost the exact same move. The dude with microcontrol power says offhandedly, oh man, we're really stupid right now if the princess had a machine gun the civilians, and then whoops, microcontrol power went off and she starts machine gun the civilians.
And this is after the real Back Arrow has a brief encounter with a weird large Bryhite that they can't get a focus on, because that turns out to be this Bryhite, which is piloted by Dissonanza.
It's a bigger Bryhite that floats invisibly above a copy of a Bryhite that it's puppeting.
Yes. And this is all a big plot of Rudolph Conductore, who is now no longer obese. He is a ripped man with a bowl cut but has holes in his shoulders that you can pump wine into.
Yeah. I think he can just reform his body because just like, well, time to get buff. All right, lads, load me up. And they just pop a bunch of bottles of wine into him. Yeah.
He is ready to party.
It's a bizarre thing.
And he's going to see his power, and he's got that blonde guy on his side, who's like kind of makes the other guys go, oh, I guess we have to do this. Because
they're like, oh no, the populace are rebelling against the princess, and they're like, yeah, we should probably go the way the wind's blowing, right, lads? And they're all like, yeah, let's do that.
The chorus of scientists appear as well again this episode, and they get told to shut up because it's not the time for that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's just like saying, no, lads, not right now. The punishment revolt is like, okay, and then they told them to fuck off. So When does Werner go to confront Rudolph?
Oh yes, he tries to confront him, doesn't he? Ask him politely to stop, and then he sacrifices himself, saving the.
He runs away from Rudolph by doing like super speed. He has loads of different abilities because he was the strongest guy, but like he picks up the building that the entire village is staying in and tries to run away with it.
Which was pushing it down the road.
It's like he's getting away, get him! It's like, yeah, he's moving a building. It's going to be very easy to spot him. Like,
speed! It moves about 100 yards down. It's pretty fast though.
Because the Grand Edge has shown up at this time, and he's trying to get the rest of the villagers to the Grand Edge. Yeah. Anyway, it all resolves by the Grand Edge basically offering Fine.
Political asylum.
That's it. Political asylum. That's it. Because hey, we're our own country, so you guys can.
We're the country of Grand Edge. We didn't lose our country. We ride around in it.
Yes.
We
ride it.
This kind of started off like the guy saying, what can you do? You're just a fucking bunch of fucking bumpkins from Norway. You won't country. And it's like it's athlete going, what the fuck? You talking shit about our country?
Yes, because Atli's wondering about her position compared to Back Arrow and Elsha. But yes, by the end, she's the sheriff. She's in charge.
Also, I like just confirming. He's like, yeah, those two is lesbians with each other. That's nice. Because this was a shot of them talking late at night, sitting on the bed, and I was just like, there's no other bed in this shot, but this is probably fine. But then when they're woken up at night, I was just like, hang on a sec, lads. Say it without saying it. It did it well. But the reason your man thought that the guys on the paraglider was a bird is because Rudolph can manipulate things with... Well, he can't. His clown face subordinate can manipulate things to look like other things.
The person I'm suspicious is up to more things than actually Rudolph is.
Yeah.
Purely by
get in a fight,
her presence all over the opening credits.
Yeah. Well, when you got somebody who can manipulate the visual record of events or create illusions or doubles, that's like, who've impersonated that already that we've seen so far.
It does tend to be a mastermind type character. Yeah.
Also being voiced by Kikuko Inoue, which might also be a suggestion that may have a more important role than just being a hench person.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking an easy role, just to get the pressure off,
this show is so good still. Yeah.
Oh, some fucking bananas. There's a way to shit so quickly.
Was there any stuff with Rekka this episode? Or are they still on their way back? I think they're still...
there's nothing really going on with them.
No.
I don't think it's time for it. There's so much shit going on in this kingdom. Like,
yes.
Like, the Doc is straight up dead, right? Because he turned into particles.
Yes, his conviction was destroyed along with his... it was weird seeing that trailer for... Shang-Chi this week with somebody also having multiple glowing rings on their arms. I was like, I just saw that last week.
It's a good look.
What kind of Kung Fu Tiger's giant robot? That's hardly fair.
Moving on, it is next up Dragon Quest episode 28, Dai's Secrets. Who is it who shall pass this over? Why, it is the half demon, half human boy. Lahalt is the one who will explain all the secrets.
Was there much of a secret he explained? Because it's like, did you know Dai is his son? And it's like, oh, really? And it's like, yeah, we know that. Fucking, that's not new.
But it shouldn't happen because there's only meant to be one Dragon Knight per generation. But this one, he is after life or death. But the whole thing about like Hadlar and the other heroes in the previous age, that was small potatoes. The Dragon Knight was out fighting this fucking other dragon that was
the last
intelligent the entire
dragon,
round.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable because if you were listening to this previous stuff, you might wonder, okay, where are the dragons in all this? Well, I guess that was already taken care of.
No Dragon Quest. I didn't see no dragons yet. This is bullshit.
Yes, he was the last intelligent dragon who wanted to conquer the world.
And he had an army of dragons. Yes. And he was busy taking care of that rather than Hadlar. Small potatoes. He's not even the main bad guy. He works for the main bad guy.
And then as he was recovering from his wounds, he was trying to drag himself to the fountain where Dragon Knights can heal up, but he couldn't quite get there. But he was saved
feet away
by a human lady, Solar, who was a princess, and they had a baby together, and there was.
She was like his son, like a solar son.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Because normally you're not supposed. When you're a dragon knight, you don't have sex to have a baby. You die. The mother dragon shows up, absorbs your power, and then lays another dragon knight.
And that thing is considered like some miracle child until he is feared and hated by mistrustful humans. But yeah, so generally the Dragon Knight doesn't get it on with anyone, but this guy did. And because that woman was a princess, but the kingdom were kind of like, hey, is that guy like a leftover from the Dark Army? Because he seems really fucking super strong. And
he's willing to sacrifice himself to save his wife and child, but then she sacrifices herself to save him. And they decides, humans, no good. Gonna have to do something about this. And then the uncle's like, well, thanks for that story, but all you've done is strengthen my resolve to beat you and beat Baron.
Because I also wanted to kill all humans one day, and I then decided that was bad.
Yeah. Albeit this guy might have, Baron might have more of a legitimate beef with humanity. I'm not sure you can explain this away by actually Hadler did it. Unless he did somehow, but I probably didn't.
Hadler seems less and less competent the more the show goes on. He wasn't even the Dragon Knight didn't give a fuck about Hadler.
I think the key thing is the reason why he joined the Dark Army. I suspect the reason he's been given to join the Dark Army is not strictly true. And yes, but he's like, okay, the problem I was having fighting you before Larhalt was that I was saving myself for fighting Baron. But now I realise I've got to put my life at risk to beat you. And so I can now dodge your blows because I'm closer.
Putting my life on risk, and this is what a human can do when he puts his life on the line.
Yes. Trick you is essentially how it ends up.
He's kind of staying within his range because he wants to go for a long lunge, but that's difficult to do when you're getting in all close quarters. It's pretty nifty. He's kind of shifting in and out. He's got a bit, ultra instinct. Well, I don't really care about living or dying. Just going to go.
Just a read in the wind kind of thing. But he does get hit, and it's just like, I'm going to do my move, the claw move. Here it comes, and he's like, I'm going to make it a cross.
Check it out.
he plays the old Uno reversey fucking card on him. Turns it. No, that's not your move at me. It's my move at you. Ha ha.
Yeah, take a look at the shape of the auroras as I block you with this chain.
Such a flimsy chain could block me. It's like, this is unbreakable bonds. That's what it represents, even though it's like jewelry. But
so earnest, so on the sleeve, but so brilliant.
Cheesy and good.
He fucking just lights him up. It's nice. And again, that whole thing of Hunkel, he's a human, but he's the head of the Undead Legion. Yeah, because you can beat this fucker into the dirt and he'll still get back up. They threw him into a volcano when he came back. He's not going to die.
It's kind of a pity, like the opening has him wearing this dude's, the top of his armor, his hat, and he has a spear in it. It's just like, okay, I know what's going to happen. Because he's not wearing a shirt. It's like, I see you're wearing a shirt armor.
Give me stuff.
Yeah.
Your gear. Loot.
Yes. Defeat the heroes, take their stuff, as we'll learn later on this episode.
That's true, actually. No, that's appropriate.
But then, the Walrus Man has got a second wind.
Not only has he got a second wind, he's got a first hostage. It's like, I know I can't beat you, but I can crush this small boy's head if you don't put down your guns, or your swords in this case, yeah.
Also, dies detecting Baron's presence and thinks that he's going to save him from all this big...
Crocodile's like, just like I thought. He's imprinting on him like a baby crocodile. Yes. I know how humans work. And not even a stern, serious talk from the princess can convince him, and giving him a knife doesn't convince him.
On the knife.
Maybe giving him a little peck. That might convince him a little. We'll see.
Yes, I think we will see next episode. As it's Baron's Rage or something is what it's called. So I guess it's time for the remaining heroes to get into a fight.
I did like the way Crocodile was kind of like, I'm going to go up and fight him alone. It's like, no, I'm going to come with you because you can't beat him. So I'm just going to, you be the tank and I'll just be like constantly healing you. That's the plan.
That's the only thing we're going to do. You're going to get smashed into a wall about a half dozen times. You good for that? Yeah, if it's for die.
It's a standard role-playing game technique.
Yeah. Have the healer stand behind the tank. It's perfect.
Just
a flawless plan.
Just spam poison knives and just wait it out.
Yeah, that works too.
Then we're going to take a look at My Hero Academia, episode 92. Make it happen, Shinso.
Of all the shows we're watching, I keep thinking it's like, well, I've read all of this, so I can kind of skip it. But then this thing kicks up the animation. I'm like, oh, do I want it though?
Okay, I watched left for funds then, because I didn't cram it in. It's inadvisable.
It's worth going back to, basically. Ooh. So I wouldn't worry about it in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good sports anime, but the sport is superheroes having a fight.
Yeah.
It's essentially, it was a good Saturday afternoon watch, was what I found it. I was like, yeah, I guess I can watch this because it's on Saturday afternoons. And this current arc is relatively stress-free in terms of...
It's fun with weird powers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got these powers, how are we going to use against each other? And let's go refer to a callback a power that Froppy has never used, but she mentioned she had back in season 1, which is her slightly toxic mucus. It's
just itchy or something, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very minor. It's not great.
So it's Red Riot and the guy who control animals get captured.
Yeah.
So it's just Shinso, Froppy, and annoying electrical kid.
Yeah, because they've caught the guy who can make boxes out of air.
Yeah.
So, because initially it's like, we'll just have a 2-1, but then they managed to actually, it's just like, as long as we keep this lead, we're good.
Yeah, because they don't have to capture everybody, because obviously Class A's got 1 extra person, so they only have to capture 2 more people, so it doesn't matter who. And they're on to Shinso's trick until it's in the heat of battle that it's harder to keep track of who's saying what.
Because his trick is like, okay, if you listen and respond to him, you're kind of fucking caught. But the idea is like, then you're not communicating properly, and that's how they fucking get you. And I was like, oh, that's really nice, actually. Yeah, just cutting down, shouting communication.
But first of all,
basically.
The lads smear themselves in Froppy's mucus that she's spat up, so they all smell of her.
It's gross. She wrapped up that air box guy with her tongue as well. I like the fact he's like, is that like a indirect kiss, or is that just straight up a kiss? Like I'm a horny teenager. I'm trying to figure this out in the cage because I've got nothing else to do.
It's a nice reverse on the girl on Team B, the one who's always tying people up in her vines. Vine, I believe her superhero name is, because the superhero name is the issue of it, isn't it? Because Gevodan, Shishida's superhero name. Your other lad keeps on calling him something else.
Vine keeps calling him Apocalypse Beast because it's like everyone's getting annoyed at her for being religious. I think it's funny. She's like superpowered Vine Jesus. I think that's a funny goal of a character, but he keeps calling it Apocalypse Beast because he thinks it sounds cool. Which is really funny, yeah.
His name is Gevodan. Because that's when he realizes he's been got at the end, when suddenly the person who's been calling him a Pocket Beast all the time suddenly calls him by his actual superhero name. But by then, it's too late. They basically Kaminari deliberately gets himself caught.
So she'll do the same defense that she did in the tournament. Yeah,
Sports Day. So they can easily capture her, and then Shinso uses his powers to trick the other two, and gets mind. They mind control.
They mind control the Vine one, and then he has her grab the scale kid. I can't remember his name, and like lob him into Apoco Beast.
Yes. And this makes Vlad very annoyed that his.
Because he was getting really into
lost.
the commentating, where everyone was like, "Dude, calm down."
Because he's super biased on his commentary as well. Which is a fun ongoing gag throughout the arc, isn't it? It's particularly I can't remember her name now. Mina is the one who's particularly annoyed at his biased
she's
commentary.
Even in the background of this one, she's made a little counter protest. It's like no biased commentary. Like she's made signs and everything. Somehow, it's good fun.
It is good fun. The reason I love this arc is because it gives loads more time to characters who aren't Deku.
Yeah. One of the complaints I've seen, besides of your one's religiosity, is that it's just like, oh, I don't give a fuck about Class B. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Some of the craziest looking powers are Class B, and this is them demonstrated. What's not fun about that?
There's a kid with a fucking speech bubble from a comic for a head. Why would you not want to know a little bit more? What
I want to see what that guy's deal is. Yeah.
How did you get like that?
And there's that wonderful blonde asshole as well.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. And turns out I do have time to watch it because it's on a Saturday afternoon. And then we've got Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, Episode 2. Season 2, Episode 1. The Secret Behind the Ring. So forget about that stuff about him turning evil. That will actually happen later in the season.
I was like, when are they going to get to that bit? Is the ring going to turn? No, not this episode. Forget about it.
No, you forgot where everybody's name is right now. You got where we introduced you to the premise all over again.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was watching the open. I was like, oh yes, this season should be the one where we get the arc where a lot more of these characters get stuff to do when we get proper ideas of who they are.
Considering it puts them, here's the lion guy. This is his name in the opening. It's just like, just remember all these fuckers. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing which reminded me, along with the couple of the characters who we've not met yet, who are in the opening credits. And then it's quite a good episode of like re-establishing the status quo and then changing the status quo.
Yeah.
By the end of the episode,
and you introduce a new character to change the status quo, but then like you kind of not have to explain things to him, but you get to like, hey, let's go through the timeline to figure out when you became self-aware. My ring, and I was just like, oh, that's just like catching me up on everything that fucking happened. That's actually pretty clever. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Reminding all the character beats as well of your main characters, which was a lot of fun. I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I like this show so much. It's because you've got this character who shouldn't be in this school full of demons who think they're much more evil than they actually are because they're demons, and his presence somehow makes everyone nicer.
And his thing of he's the hero because he will do absolutely anything anyone asks of him, which is like that's. So he's the world's biggest pushover. Yes, that's his superpower.
That's his superpower. And then we introduce the Ali, the being in the ring who we've briefly seen previously. And my favourite gag is the bit where he's like, "You just talked." He goes, "I did not talk. If I could talk, you'd think I would have spoken to you before now."
And he's like, "Holy shit, I'm talking." Like, what the fuck?
Yes, and then he's like, okay, you got to stop eating all this magic and then pushing it out all in one go, because imagine that's just like me gorging myself and then making me vomit every time. So use the spell you learned in class today and try and imagine a form. How do you describe himself? Like skinny,
big eyes, tall, lots of curves. You know.
Yes,
maybe kind of cool looking. So
he gives him a big eye.
Yes,
he makes him like svelte, stylish.
Yes, in a little suit. And then he gives him his full name, and then you call me Ali-san. And so he's now got this ring being. The being in the ring can come out. Well, he is the ring, and then whenever he tells somebody that the ring can talk, everyone's like, "Rings don't talk," and they start worrying about him.
It's like of all the weird stuff in the world, rings can't talk, you crazy child. His granddad and his butler are getting really worried about him, so they put him to bed during lunch break, as far as I could tell.
Dear. So it's the thing of like, oh yeah, it makes sense keeping the secrets in this series. When I get annoyed about other shows where characters keep secrets where they don't need to. In this one, it's like, it's very much need to keep this secret because you'll be we know he'll be sent back to Earth in the case because that's already been established. And now that it's the additional thing of like, oh, the ring's worried now that if we reveal that you're a talking ring, they'll take the ring from you and they'll start experimenting on me because, as far as I know, I'm the only talking ring because we can't find any evidence of this being a thing before.
Because they do find the book about it in the library and it doesn't mention the fact that it can talk or anything. And it's like, why did you start talking? And they figure out when his consciousness started coming about, and that's when they go over the timeline. That's why I fucking made you body tackle that guy, because I knew he was dangerous, but I couldn't talk or anything.
Yeah. And so it's every time Iruma gets a rank up at school, Ali-san also becomes more powerful. And now this is suddenly the motivation beyond Amory, keeping Amory happy. Is Iruma now has another motivation for rising up in ranks because, hey, when I get more powerful, this guy who I've just met this episode will also get more powerful.
He asked me nicely. So
and speaking of Amory, he was practicing the transmogrification of clothes on himself and accidentally put himself into a cute dress while she was like, that idol can't be Iruma. Oh, what's this noise going on over here? Oh, it's Iruma in a dress. And he gets completely distracted from dissuading anything she thinks about that by researching this ring and having a conversation with her.
Settle us back down a bit. Yep, job well done. Oh my God, killed the awkwardness at school. Oh no. It didn't solve anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's good because it's the same. What she's worried. Well, she obviously it's completely flustering her because obviously she's like, I'm not attracted to this woman.
Yeah.
Just because it looks like Iruma. And it's the same phrasing of what Clara tried to make herself look like in order to make herself attractive to Iruma in the first season.
Frilly.
Frilly and fluffy. Yeah.
And you also reintroduced that thing with Eiko, that other girl in the class, or in the other class, who has been saved individually now before by Iruma, but also Emery, is just like, not sure who I got the biggest crush on. I think I'll just go with both of these and see how it turns out.
I think I'll learn photography to creep on both of them.
Take sexy photos of them. I mean, you know.
I mean, no, it's all the girls like our hero thing, but it's like you got the love triangle of two fucking idiots who don't realize they like each other, and also a third person who's creeping on both of them. And also a weirdo who's creeping on that guy as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the almost crush that, or probably that Chan has on Iruma as well.
That's a different triangle,
funny.
I guess. Yeah.
It is, yes. And Clara's completely innocent crush, because as we remember, she has the lower sex appeal than a baby.
So no dirty fan art. I don't want to see nothing of Clara, all right?
Fine family. Even reintroduce us to our slippers, Connor and Murph. In case you forgot about that.
Because they don't get a thing in the opening, so we have to reintroduce her slippers. Yeah, fucking hell. This show's still good.
That was the point at which I was like, okay, yeah, they're just going to go introduce everything. Which is good, because I was like, okay.
It's been a while.
I'd forgotten that Aiko had a crush on both of them. So when she was like talking about, I'm going to learn about photos, so I could sneakily take cover pictures of both of them. I was like, oh yeah, that was a late beat in the story. It was. The new opening is pretty good as well, and it has all the characters dancing, which is always a plus.
It's very much similar in tone to the previous one. It's like this works so well the first time, you can't change it now. Just make it bigger.
Yeah.
Need more sap.
Then we got
need more sap not being an Aegis.
Yes. Well, I'm sure he'll get the chance, and I know other characters do get the chance to be idiots as well, which is the main thing I'm looking forward to, because that was the biggest problem with the first season is you got a load of characters and there's a whole bunch of them we don't really know that much.
Very
about.
Focused only on a few of them. Yeah.
There's the horny owl. There's the girl who's also an idol. And we know a little bit about the guy who's a kleptomaniac. Beyond Sabnok's the only one really in the class who's got a lot of time. Then we got Thunderbolt Fantasy Sword Seekers 3, Episode 3, The Infatuated Princess. Tell me about it, guys.
Yep. A lot happens, but then not a lot happens.
Yeah, so it opens on our random professor and our now robot-armed monk in that weird extra-dimensional plane. He's like, all right, you can see the way you can see the disturbance in the sky. Clearly, someone figured out how to get here before me. So I'm using this big, crazy computer. It has like a keyboard that he keeps pressing with his mechanical hand, which is very funny to me.
I need to take a close look at it last week. I don't know how it is overlooked. Like, yeah, it's got like metal bits and wires from it. This is a cyborg, and we're in some kind of fantasy China or B2B. But because this guy's from another dimension.
Well, he could be from the future as well. That's the thing I was thinking. Because it's time and space are all weird, and he's been locked into this thing. So he's like, I'm going to use my computer to beep boop beep. Bring like the mirror thing close down to us. The monk guy's like, so this will bring me back to like where I came out. And he's like, yeah, I think that's where the thing's centered. So it should bring us back there. Cool. Now to use my crazy shoot off on a string hand that breaks rocks on you to knock you out and just jump straight the fuck up there and not before breaking your machine, which is like a real dick move. But it's like later. You did say about like when it's like, hey, is this arm good? And he's like, oh, it's way better than that hunk of iron you were using as a sword before. And it's like, you insulted my sword.
Don't talk about my girlfriend like that.
Yeah, so he gets back to the mirror leaf forest and he's like, okay, now I got to find my fucking sword. Where is it?
Oh, beloved, please.
In the undergrowth somewhere. So cuts back to the palace that our ginger player has showed up in. The princess is like, oh, you finally returned.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I thought you'd never come back. Oh, you're going to leave me again? It's like, oh, you could never leave me. And then she shanks him. Yeah. And he's bleeding out pretty bad. And he's like, no, you can't leave me because I'm going to clip your wings, my songbird.
Yeah, this is Chow Feng. There was a film of this Bewitching Melody of the West, which relates on his backstory, where Lang Wu Yao, he was like raised to be the court musician.
I think I'm caught up just on the little exchange here.
They pretty much you get to the kind of dynamic here. That's one things that it doesn't go into stuff like Lang's mother who raised him to be like from a baby to be a great singer and a great fighter. But then his voice broke and in a fit of madness he threw himself off a cliff, I think.
Oh jeez.
But Xiao Feng, was like, she likes to have the court entertainers, the musicians and stuff, play their music or do their songs while they're getting attacked by the soldiers in a kind of sadistic show for her pleasure. So obviously Lang got away from that. But now he gets slidered right back into it again. But the lads come and bail him out. I didn't like the way all of that bit with the fighting the guards and getting out of the palace seemed to be like on fast forward. I was like, come on lads, let me see the puppet fight. Let me see that puppet get his face cut off. I want to see that shit. And it was very strange. Yeah, I found like it was like Shang Buhan was doing kind of cool. This one just kind of doing the kind of more like unarmed, like hand to hand
disarming the guy of his own sword kind of thing. Yeah.
Which otherwise, what we say, this guy dude's got his fucking eyes cut off. It's pretty. Like, why you that? Did it get it so bad? I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't need to skip that, but they're hiding out in the woods. They manage the distraction because our beguiling wind fella has set up his last bunch of fireworks and is like, okay, they're going to go for the fireworks, so we need to get the fuck out of here. But wouldn't you know, an old friend of Shang Buhan shows up. What does he call him? The winner of 1,000 battles.
The paragon of 100 battles.
That was it. And he sounds familiar. He looks familiar, but I don't know who this guy is. He seems pretty cool. He's like, oh, come on, I'll lead you out here. And he's like, what are you even doing in a podunk place like this? He's like, well, they kind of made me come back out of this and guard the princess because she's like obsessed with catching that motherfucker who steals all the swords. I don't know, yourself, basically.
Yeah, giving us all the backstory, giving us all the things in here.
Yeah. Catching us up. Him saying, the reason I'm helping you escape rather than capturing you, which is literally my job, is because it's bullshit. You got a lot of young men been sent to their death trying to catch you and all the swords, whereas they should be just defending their country. That's why they joined the army. And that's bullshit. Come on, I'll take you to the secret passage down these tunnels. And it's a very long thing of him explaining all this backstory while walking down the tunnels.
Yeah. And the guy go down a tunnel and go. It felt like walking down that for a good 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah. It felt a long time.
Going down a tunnel, explaining how all this shit goes down. You go beyond the door then, and it's like, wait a minute. This seems a lot more sinister than let me in. Isn't this the lair of the Order of the Divine Swarm? Like, yep, I've gone in with the bad guys. Because I
was the guy. He was disguised by not wearing his mask and scowling a little less.
Who else has those piercing amber eyes like a hawk?
There's and so he's just like, yeah, we're here to catch you, and it's like, I'll ask you, like, will you give us all the swords? And Shang Bihan's like, no. It's like, cool, I'm gonna take them off you then, give them to our locust, our 2D locust light up puppet lord is the only representation of that, which is very fun. There's a lot of good like scenery puppetry in this, because like when he slams down that giant fucking monster hunter sword, like the entire ground like quakes up every time. A lot of him like just carving up the tiles on the ground. It was just quite good. I did enjoy that.
Yeah, fun. Linsetsu, as soon as he figures out, like, oh, so this is the arch nemesis of Shang Buhan. He's been trying to keep these swords for you all this time. Interesting. I wonder how I can fuck up this guy's shit. It's already the gears are turning now. You can mess around with this dude. We're gonna have a duel first. It's gonna be the Paragon of 100 battles and the sword-stealing nemesis. The Mantis dude with the two hooks sort of like, well, I'll like, keep these busy here. No, but I'll occupy you while you can interfere in their duel.
Do any of your usual tricks. Yeah. So if he's keeping them occupied, he won't be able to
saying, oh, I'm done going easy on you. Shang Buhan's going to put out the real business. You know, it's just, lots of that. It's just, lots of things happen, but then a lot, nothing happens as well. I think that tonal bit in the middle is trying to kill the momentum.
I have to catch you up on the backstory of the situation that you find yourself in. But you know, I was fine with it. It got like, unfortunately, a sped up fight, but also a not bad start to a fight, and I hope that one continues in the next one. I'm excited.
Yeah. It just seems to be like a bad loading screen of an episode.
A lore bit, yeah.
And again, the fact that if you want to be clear on the relationships here, you should watch the movie. But even then, I'd say they're pretty straightforward as far as, you know. Oh, I get what this is. She loves him, but she also really wants to like
hurt him,
torture him, and hurt him because it's amusing to her. Yeah, it's pretty clear. Don't need to have a fucking whole film to explain that. So we'll see how it does. More violence. Please.
Then we've got Zenkaiger, episode 7, number 7 Kai, the prince of the demon world, is short-tempered, in which we're properly introduced to Stacy, who our hero insists must be famous. Oh, no, you're not famous? I bet you're a magician. But no, he's actually the son of one of the enemy generals, and secretly Caesar. An evil, not sure if he's evil, but a enemy Sentai. Though our hero is still insisting that he's a wizard. But he's not. I'm not a wizard. I'm just Stacy, as he says. He's appears to be human, but he's got like a little bit of silver paint on his ear. So I don't know whether he's supposed to be like a half human, half robot person.
I mean, like, it could in real life just be style, but I mean, in this it probably means something.
Yeah, because his dad appears to be a robot person, and his dad's like, oh, maybe he'll finally prove himself useful. So I wonder if that's what his motivation is to prove himself to his dad rather than anything else. And when he transforms, you like see the DNA like get turn into cogs when he changes into
man and machine.
Stacy's
Power extreme.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know whether it's going to turn out that Kaito Zenkaiser's mum had an affair with this robot tank man, and this is his half-brother or something. We'll find out down the line. But anyway, this episode, not only from the preview last week, I thought, oh, he just summons giant robots, but no, he can also summon duplicates of previous Sentai teams.
Okay.
And so he basically summons, I think... is it all the ones which are basically? I think it's just the ones which match what our hero's attributes to, and then he summons their robots, and they defeat the robots by. I guess they can't beat them, so what they try and do is they've got their Big Bang change, which makes them grow big to giant robots, and they have to decombine because the 4 enemy robots do all their final attacks against them. So you just dodge them, they split in 2. And then they're like, oh, what we should do? We should just use that big bag again and make ourselves even bigger and just stomp on them. So they try that again. But instead what it does, it summons a giant version of their toy guns, which then lands between them, and then they do a tribute to like the older Super Sentai when the Sentai would summon a bazooka and all 4 of them or 5 of them fire it at the bad guys.
They all combine their weapons
and all the guns together.
Yes.
Huddle up, bang bang.
Yes. So they do that and then blow the 4 robots up, and then Stacy throws a tantrum and then just summons about 10 more robots for them to fight, and that's the cliffhanger for next week. But then the trailer for next week shows another weirdo showing up, who I now just see from looking at the fandom wiki. We are going to be introduced next week to a character. Strap yourself in when you hear this name. Hold on to your hats, because we're going to meet Zox Gold Tweaker. Which might be the most Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy name I've heard in a Sentai show.
It's pretty good. Unpack there.
And that seems to be indicating that he's going to take them into different universes. He will transform into 2 Kaiser, who appears to be a tribute to the last time they had one of these tribute shows, the 35th Super Sentai show.
So I can summon everything that show could summon. Yeah.
The one with the space pirates.
Yeah. It's a little bit blurry, though, because it's a copy of a copy.
But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to, just because he's called Zox Goldtweaker. I mean, if you can name characters, you might as well name a character Zox Goldtweaker. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Well, it's new to me.
Meanwhile, Niall, tell us what else is happening on a Sunday morning in Tropical-Rouge Precure, Episode 8. Our first club activity, Tropica Shining Lunches.
We gotta make lunch, because our lunches kind of suck. Like, whenever my mom usually makes lunch, we should rush out this morning, says Manatsu. She gave me like both of the rice together. Now she's got both like the rolled omelets and stuff in her lunch. So she's going like, shit. Rush out in the morning doing that. We'll share some of mine. What do you got? We got this little meatball here, but it's made out of stuff like, minced up tuna eyeballs and natto beans and eggshells. No, stuff is good for you. It's gotta taste good as well. It's like, I only know how to make these, so I just made like ham flours, but I just made 50 ham flours instead. We almost got a decent lunch at Asuka. I was like, oh, it's a pretty cool lunch you got there. Yeah, I make lunch for myself and the family, 'cause the family's like a team. You're all gonna pull together and help each other out. Can you teach us how to make lunch? Sure. We go to the home ec room and we'll show you like how you can make like all these like lovely little dishes at home economically. Here is actually a little diagram for you kids at home to make your own artistic, creative little bento lunchbox with the seal mascot character. Ooh, that's very cool. So it says how to prepare these things. Laura is there trying to help everyone as well, but not doing a very good job. But wanting to get involved. Just little things like, if you drop your vegetables on the floor, just rinse them under the tap. Don't throw them in the bin. Just rinse them off. It'll be fine. But then to put together a nice little quick lunch. They're about to sit down to eat it. Well, I was like, oh no, monster attack. Okay, so better take care of that. I haven't even sat down to lunch yet. We go up to take care of the monster. It's a shaved ice machine. It's freezing stuff. It's not good.
Is it like just a Mr. Frosty that's a monster, or?
Pretty much, yep.
Okay.
And still a lot of motivation from people nearby, but they're kind of like slumped over in heaps, but they seem kind of blissed out. It's like, oh man, whoo. I am fucking baked right now. While they're trying to fight it, it's just like, oh, I'm trying to like land a punch in it, but it's not quite connecting. Oh, I'm so fucking hungry. And they're like, hey, time out. Laura says, lads, huddle up, come back. Time up for the monster fight. Okay, you gotta have a bit to eat for lunch. You can't go fighting monsters on an empty stomach. It's not healthy. It's like, okay, all right, let's sit down. It's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. What do you like doing? I like eating my favorite bit first because I can't wait to get to it. Oh, I save mine to the last because you want to have something to look forward to. That's so great restraint right there. Hey, I'll try to eat some of my last for too. Yeah. It's like, okay, I gotta beat the monster before we start feeling hungry again. And like, let's go.
I mean, like, I think you get a cramp as well. Like, that's not the best idea, Neil.
Already so soon after eating, yeah. But it's like maybe as well, it's got to do it quickly before you start getting the cramp, which they do with the plum. So kind of figuring out, hey, we're in middle school, we're in junior high now. We should probably be figuring out how to make our own lunches now, because trying to help a family out. Like my mom's got to rush to her job every morning, and it make it a little easier on her, if it'll do this. And just to show as well, when I get home, I've already got dinner made, because I was in the home ec class busting my ass. But now, the moment we can't have in the morning because you had to rush out to your job, we can share now over this nice little meal at the dinner table. It's like, hey, all right. Too bad we couldn't finish the bento because we made the little rice, fucking thing of the seal mascot. It looks too cute. Can't eat it. It's like when Matt's just going, what are you talking about? His little eyes a bit all like peas, like I was his eyes, num 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 num. That's sick. Sick. Yeah, again, it's like the things surrounding it, the gimmick of it, is always like the fun part leading up to it. Just the fact to kind of stop in the middle of the automatic and saying, "Well, hang on, no, lunchtime, union break. We gotta stop. We gotta sit down something to eat. I promised." Those parts are fun. With Laura as well, it's always going to be a delight. Those bits as well. They seem to have the best kind of comic animation in them. The monster fight always seems a bit secondary, so I'm kind of waiting for the day when to put a bit more behind that one again. When I find that totem pole when they got Oscar, that was a pretty good fight before, but it hasn't been like that way since. But again, there's other things that surround it to keep it going.
That you're still having fun with. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. We're going to figure out what our club does. I don't know. We're making lunch today. Sure, all right. That's something we got to do. YOLO. Do what's most important right now. Whatever gets me into trouble.
Then we've got Sunday evening fare starting off the block with Moriarty the Patriot. Episode 14, Scandal in the British Empire, Part 3, in which the makers of the anime hope that Eon Productions aren't watching anime.
That, and also, like, I'm going to say, generally I don't do spoiler warnings, but, like, fucking watch this, because we're going to spoil the fuck out of it. And I was fucking laughing my whole off. I was like, this is fucking great. I love everything about this. It's fantastic.
This is what I meant by going into League of Extraordinary.
I am so fucking down for this. This is great.
So essentially, Irene Adler, that's the name I was looking for in my head. It suddenly went blank on because I was thinking of the new name that they have by the end of the episode. So yes, she's tried to escape the government.
Yeah, Sherlock's kind of like going like, fuck, I know the only government wouldn't do this because I know who the government is. My brother, he's an asshole. He wouldn't compromise. So who she's really going to is the Lord of Crime. But I can't stop her because that's literally the only person who can help her in this situation. That's very frustrating to me.
I don't want to do anything that would enable that motherfucker to succeed in his schemes. But
I want to save
her alive. I gotta try and figure out how they taunt between us.
I'm going to follow her, and also I'm going to bring a load of fake policemen, which would make more sense if this anime adaptation hadn't cut loads of stories out, I suspect. Much like how all of a sudden the Moriartys are the Lord of Crime. I was like, that was awfully quick. I bet there's loads more stories where this is more established.
I did like that. It was like, yes, we are the Lords of Crime. We're fucking great now. How are we going to get through this plan? Because obviously, Sherlock knows that he knows that we know. It's like, don't worry, I have a plan for that. These little red letter.
I think as well. That's when they were reaffirming their oath to each other. Like, well, we're in this blood pact to commit crimes for the good of the world together. So I think that was get a gist of it. If more depth, if you wanted, I think would be in the comic.
Yeah, it was more like your little boy who works with the Moriartys was also working with Sherlock as part of the fake policeman, I believe.
What was it?
Yeah. I think he was standing next to Watson disguised as a policeman.
There was a couple of the Baker Street irregulars dressed as policemen.
Oh, it might have been one of the Baker Street.
Yeah,
it could have been that.
They might have changed them out for that. But yeah, I get what you mean.
But it's definitely. It was like I know why they were rushing to get to this story because of how it ends and also the reveal of exactly what the French Revolution was about and the identity of
Like
Robespierre.
we'll get into that in a minute, but like the entire thing of like Irene shows up at the church and he's in our Lord of Crime. Which one this time? It is William
and Albert.
Albert.
No, it's still Albert.
Yeah. I'm mixing up my names.
That's the one she's met before.
Yeah. To keep the fucking story straight. So he's behind the confessional thing.
It's a pretty cool little setup, actually.
It's a great visual. Like I love it.
We've seen it recently in Kishibe Rohan, maybe is kind of but
yeah.
Because you just see the hand. It's just like the single candle. It had a very dreadful atmosphere to it, I think.
Yeah. It's very of the time. He's like, pass me an envelope, and Shark's like, nah. How do I fucking know you're going to keep your word? And he's like, well, I thought it was going to be like, oh, is this going to be like invisible ink or something like that? It's like, no, it's just Moriarty-based stationery. It's like, Irene, write my true name on this, seal the envelope with the wax from that candle, the only light source in this church. And hey, Sherlock, if she ends up dead, you can open that and come get me. Right? Deal? I'm trusting you with this. And he's just like, okay, I can't ask for fairer than that. Also, I know you didn't bring real cops to this place, so we're not surrounded. So I know I can just walk the fuck away. And he's like, okay, yeah, no, you got me. That seems fair. And then while he brings Irene out the secret tunnels under the church. And she's like, oh fuck, that's the guy in charge. This is a whole fucking bunch of dudes. And I guess I might be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, he could be.
So then Albert goes to meet Mycroft. And to return the document and to reveal that Irene's still alive, and then to make a deal with the British government, where yes, we'll continue to balance the power between the citizens of the UK and the corrupt nobility by having them both hate us.
Yeah, the thing of them walking into the place and going like, yeah, here we are, we're the plan, we're the lords of crime, we're going to destroy the noble class and improve Britain as a result. And he's like, as long as you're not attacking Britain, I'm fine with this 100. I'm fine with this plan. It's fine.
No.
That was very ballsy. I did like it. Yeah.
Well, and they use it.
You can just say thereafter, like, well, these abilities, these fox tape huntings that we know of, certainly they're against the active interests of Britain. So really, you know, we're patriots. You may argue our definition of it thereof, but you can't say that we're acting in the interests of the people here.
And he's even referring to it's like, I have consistently, since I was a little kid, went after nobles who did fucked up shit. So I'm doing this for Britain as a patriot. You can't fucking deny that. Yes. I'm always trying to get the assholes.
This is all explained by describing the terror after the French Revolution.
Yeah.
And explaining it away as Robespierre being a British agent who was so distraught about people going after nobles who weren't necessarily actually committing crimes after they'd overthrown the monarchy.
I wanted them to go after the corrupt nobles, but they were just going after nobility. This is fucked. Yes. I'll start killing them. I'll start putting them on the guillotine. Then I'm the target of their hatred.
And also I'll start killing people who aren't nobles. So they'll both hate me.
Yeah, he becomes the object of everyone's
with a smile on his face. And they're like, but Mycroft, why haven't you destroyed this document? Well, that's because Robespierre was really one of my ancestors, Sherringford Holmes.
This is the cross the Holmes family must bear. Except for my brother. I don't tell him about this because fuck him, right? He needs to stay innocent.
He should be free.
He's innocent.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does seem a bit of a dick move, though.
It's the burden of government. So then, yes, okay, you can take. We'll fake Irene's death, and you can take her away. And then Irene has to assume a new identity, and taking the name of their pretend James Moriarty.
We'll give you our first fake name, but what about a surname?
Relationships,
new bonds,
affections, bonds. Call me Bond. James
Bond
Irene Bond.
Because. James Bonday, because we can't say Bond, even though it's clearly Bond.
Even though I can hear them saying it. The standard JoJo problem.
Yes, because I'm sure Ian Production, it will be a Zorro Zollo situation as they're preemptively making sure
Yeah.
they don't attract the wrong legal attention.
Yeah.
You weirdos on Twitter who are complaining about the name change. Do you not know how intellectual property
when I
works
read
at this
it
point?
written down, I read Zorro. It's fine. I can just edit that while I'm reading it. It's okay.
You're reading Shining Diamond, but you're hearing Crazy Diamond.
Yes.
I know what the fuck it's called. I can hear them saying it.
He's saying Steely Dan. It's clear as day.
And the other thing is, like, I know I've seen people talking about on Twitter that in the comic, I think it's established that formerly Irene, now James Bond, is going by male pronouns and stuff like that.
Yes,
at least this show managed to do the thing of, hey, James Bond can be a woman, up until the point where she goes like, no, I'm a man now, a master of the skies. So yes. Yeah, that's fine.
Because I saw some people complaining about it. I was like, that's because you've read the comic. They've not got to the bit where they're
it's not
addressing
fair
the
to do that to
pronouns
people.
that James Bond wants to use. That's literally addressed in the next bit, as you can see in the trailer, when she's the one. Which of one of these gang is the one who's likely not to use the right pronoun?
Oh, it's probably the guy with the gun, right?
Lauren.
The one who actually fucks out of the...
Oh, yeah. Well, the only one who's definitely straight, because the rest of them are very doubtful.
They're in love with they're in love with crime.
Yes, that's what they're in love with. And the other one's too young.
Yeah.
So that's all addressed in the next episode. So
yeah, I know. People just jumping the fucking gun on it. It's kind of annoying.
But just enjoy it, man. I think.
Yeah.
Especially she's more attractive. She probably just cuts the hair off and there's a little kind of coquettish wiping lipstick like, Bond. James Bond.
Yes. It's like so the way the design works. It suddenly looks like, oh, this was the design all along. And the Irene Adler was the disguise.
Yeah, exactly. It's so well done. And that scene comes after Sherlock getting he gets passed out in the street by some young man saying good night, Mr. Holmes. And it's like, who is that guy? I don't fucking know. And then he kind of gets in and it's like, oh, Holmes, your brother's just been here. He said Irene Adler's body was found, and he's like, oh, okay, this is obviously bullshit. I can burn the thing. She's perfectly safe because I literally just met her not 10 minutes ago.
No shortcuts.
Yes.
And I don't care what name is in it. I'm up. I gotta figure this out legit.
But like...
Yeah, and he also... the photo she'd left and she'd left the photo
herself
that was supposedly...
Yeah.
Yes, and he's folded it so it's the man that he's looking at as well.
Yes.
So I think he's figured it out at that point that it was...
Like initially I was thinking he was folding it because I just want a picture of Irene. I don't want to picture him, but I was like, oh, but it's folded face up with the man. He's figured... Yeah, he's figured it out.
Yeah, he's figured it out from the bit from the start, yeah.
But like much and all as it sidelines Irene James for most of this episode, getting that bit at the end was just like, mwah, fucking beautiful.
It's just kind of cool, because she only technically exists within confines of this story, but there's still this attachment and romanticism to the character. That's why she's still getting reinterpreted even now. So it's like, why we gotta park her just there? Let's fucking, because they're going to say they're going to keep her on as like a Moriarty gang operative. So let's keep her on and do some other shit. It's cool.
Taking orders from M, you see. That's
yes.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure I'm definitely sure other people have done that, both with Moriarty and with Mycroft.
Wasn't that was literally in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where Mycroft Holmes was the first M or something.
Yes. Yeah. Of course, Alan Moore hates James Bond as the Black Dossier.
This loves James Bond. You can fucking tell. But yeah.
Specifically the James Bond of the novels, I believe, is the version he presents in Black Dossier, who does terrible things and then proceeds to have terrible things happen to him. Then we've got Dragon Goes House Hunting, Episode 3, My First Home, in which Letty gets a home custom built for them.
Hey, Grand Designs.
We just built
House International Grand Designs.
Also, they go to the witches that run the furniture shop. Fucking love those ladies. They were constantly trying to mac on the elf and constantly trying to rid the dragon. It's just really funny to them. Like old ladies would, to be fair.
Yes.
They're very nice, though.
And I did like the magical door which reads your bad poetry if you don't say the password quick enough.
How is that? This is meant to keep other people out. It's going to entice them to get the password wrong. So
no, it's going to entice them to burn the painting, is what I think.
Yes.
Then no one can know about this.
This is such a good source for real, proper ideas for proper role-playing games, rather than ones people who try and make their role-playing game like a epic fantasy novel.
No, put in all the dumb shit. No. Yeah.
Put in this magic door. Put in the magic doors where you change the doorknobs and it takes you to different places. Accidentally, of course, takes him straight back to the dwarf.
Who are mumbling about themselves. We should have caught that dragon. Do you want to go after him now?
Yeah. I love them being recurring characters as well. Then they get a load of gnomes and ogres to help build the house.
Gnomes are great craftsmen, and ogres do all the heavy lifting.
Got 3 bodyguards. We got reptile man, a wolf man, and a minotaur man. They're going to be your 3 main boys, your security team, and they're
they
super
look scary at
first,
but they're just they're very excited. It's like, holy shit, we're working for a dragon. We're moving up, boys.
And I like when the house is finished, they go do you want to do the Shinto
groundbreaking ceremony?
Groundbreaking ceremony. No, I'm not. I don't practice Shinto. How about human sacrifice? No, not that either.
No, just fucking start digging the foundation.
Let's get the gold shovel, like we agreed.
And his attempts to help out build the building go very poor. He's such a lovable, useless dragon.
Yeah.
Best you can do is to stay very still so that the gnomes can perch on his head. They can paint that stuff on the paneling.
It's a fire sealant, isn't it, from all the dragon fire that they assume will happen in the house.
But in order to pay for this house, though, they have to expect adventurers to come in. That's why they've got the 3 bodyguards who will beat up the adventurers and steal their property so they can sell that to pay for the house.
Now, they didn't kill the exact same adventurers this time. I'm guessing those resurrections were pretty expensive. But they just go like, leave all your shit and we'll let you live. Because you better do it, because our boss is a dragon. And the dragon shows up in his nightcap holding a pillow, and somehow, because he's lit from underneath, he looks really threatening. It's like, it's the deadly killer dragon. They have a really cool name for him.
Lord of lame.
It's a lame name, but it's the name that sticks, unfortunately.
A very cringy name.
So this has the effect of both attracting more adventurers and more monsters who want to live under the protection of this red dragon. So we first get what they're called. They're an
Ainu thing, aren't they?
Myths. Yeah, they are. Because it's your fella in Shaman King.
Oh, he does have it. Yeah. I forgot about that. They're the little guys who live under the leaves.
Use a little leaf as your umbrella. It's very adorable.
Yeah. And he's like, it's probably fine. This is a pretty big mansion. We got room enough for you. Just put yourself up. And it's like, no, boss, we got like way more visitors than that. There's like slimes. There's cockatrices. There's all kinds of mad shit. Yeah.
Oh, the cockatrices who were like, we've written a song for.
Your exploits are legendary in defense of your monsters, and we will defend your home with our very lives. And basically, he has to do nothing but let the army of monsters that lives in his house just kill and attack adventurers that go for the very obvious target.
Unfortunately, smash walls in as they're doing it.
That's going to be a bit of wear and tear in this line of work. That's not covered under the policy. A policy of robbing adventurers out of stuff.
But he doesn't have to fight any adventurers. All he has to do is live in a very loud house, very rowdy
peace and quiet. He's in there. He's gotta be in. I don't know why they put a throne room in there. That didn't seem like he'd have something happen in his plans. But he's just there. He has the whole court. It's like, I just want to go sleep. I just want to go sleep. So he leaves. It's like, no, I don't keep it. I want to do it.
Because his dream of living beside the dragon fire-proof fireplace with a giant dog and a book was just like, this could never happen now. So he leaves them.
Carry on looking.
He leaves them, but our elf guy did say, it's like, don't worry, boys, you guys take care of the place while I'm away. And they're all like, oh, cool, this will just be a new dungeon for monsters to kill adventurers in.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering whether the elf is his dad. And who we think is his dad is actually his mother.
Oh, he is very caring about dragons and very caring for this dragon. Yeah. He does like dragons a lot. Could be. And
because it's like always thinking back of him traveling with another with the dragon who I assume is the dad.
Yeah, I think it was the same kind of dark red. So,
but also
yeah.
dragons are good for the money because even their baby teeth compared to a princely sum.
Yes.
yeah.
Keeping a
yeah,
stuck little coin purse stuffed in scales in your neck. Oh, just get that out. That's why dragons are so touchy about like guys aiming at their neck. It's like, no, get away.
That's my wallet.
Trying to mug me, are you?
Oh yes, we got Diria's satchel. Definitely not a bag of holding. It's a satchel.
No, legally distinct from a bag of holding. Nope. Because that's where they have to go to the witches initially to return the bed. Because that was a loner for the last episode. I didn't know that was going to be a plot point.
Yeah, it should be the fantasy setting, and the kind of lighter, more gloomy ones, certainly. It should just be worked like the Flintstones, or here's a thing where like, it's just gadgetry, and it's like, oh, it sounds very arcane, but you basically just invented like the radio, but it's in a fantasy.
Yeah, all the lighting fixtures have salamanders that are being imprisoned for arson, and they serve their time by being lighting fixtures. It's like, oh, I guess everything works out then, except for the people who died in that fire.
It's what they would have wanted. Wouldn't want, to punitive punishment on them, because if we won't learn anything, it won't be credit society afterwards. You gotta put them inside here and let them be a lamp.
Yeah, and like, again, it feels like this is a show that I should drop as of the too many shows we're watching, but it's like 3 episodes in, and despite the premise seeming like, well, how much can they stretch out of this? Like, so many fucking jokes is what they can get out of this. Yeah.
Yes.
That's very good.
Yeah, if you like any sort of role playing, be it computer or pencil and paper,
it'll make references to both. Yeah.
Yes. Then finally, we've got Megalobox Nomad episode 3. Someone who's better with romance languages, have a go, because they seem to be making the titles longer just to spite me.
Give it a lash.
Do you want to go, Wayne? I did. You go, then I'll go.
I've written it out phonetically for myself to try and learn better pronunciation of Spanish. Si deseas de la niña pudrición de la retias, no bloqueas la boca de la novora. I know I mangled some of the bigger words there. Also, I don't speak nearly quick enough for Spanish.
It's a complicated one. This one if you.
I had to look up what an amphora was like.
Especially like a plant pot. If you want to get rot into your roots, then don't block the
mouth.
Don't block the water in the pot.
No, don't block the mouth of the.
Don't block the water on top of the amphora, which is like a vase.
Yeah, it's a thin mouth vase, like a bigger bottom on it. It's complicated. It's yeah.
They're in the eye catch as well. You can learn about there as well. This is Jurgamente the Oath of Jade, of Jade Oath, and all the eye catch ones have to do with a color. Last one was Tierra Dorado, the Golden Land, for instance, which is self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're in the tournament.
It's only going to be a 3-round tournament. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is like just setting it up. Like
it's sort of attached to at the local county fair. So it couldn't be a big competition anyway.
And it's funny that like their local once-a-year fair is like, it seems to be very Mexican themed, despite how much they hate immigrants. But I guess that's life on the fucking border, right?
Oh my god. Sure, yeah, Cinco de Mayo. I love Mexican Independence Day. It's like, do you really?
Mm-hmm.
It's a costume you put on and take off.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of vibes I was getting from it as well.
We work like dogs. We work like fucking like dog street, and you say we're stealing your jobs. It's like, what the fuck do you want? What the fuck do you want?
But Gearless Joe has shown up to bring his guy he's training in to the thing. Doesn't get on too well with our mafia-looking dude with his little yappy dog.
He's a legitimate businessman, I'm sure.
Sure, of course.
But Joe's not quite off the junk just yet.
He has to get it out of his system. Yeah.
Get some kind of...
And we see that Sachio blames Joe for I forgot his name now.
Nambu's
He's dead.
Nanbu.
I can't want to call him Gamba. He's not Gamba. That's a mouse.
Is it like? Yeah, it's very similar to that. That's what's
some kind of Rocky 3 situation they got going on here. When Nambu was done, he was fucking Mickey. He was done. He was unwell. But said, "Don't get into the ring, Joe. That guy, he ain't a boxer. He's a killer. He'll vitalize you."
Yeah. Like basically, you have the scene with him in bed, and like, and he's like, "Oh, come on, I need you in my corner for this, man." And he's like, "He can't even let me fucking die in peace." All right, I'll do it. I'll do it one more time. And it's like, might have been like he was on his deathbed. It seems
too many.
Or at the very least, he was on his he was invalid at the time. So it's kind of like, all right, I'll get up and do this for you, Joe. And that seems to be what killed him. We still don't know specifically what the conditions of that is. But maybe it just broke his damn heart.
Dragging him out of his deathbed to train him for a fight he lost seems to be the what's done it. Which I guess, Sachio has a reason to feel slighted. Also, we have him showing up trying to get him back on the junk. So in his ghost form, but
go on, take these pills, and all the pain will go away.
But instead, shave your beard off.
I mean, like, it's getting a bit thick, but yeah, fair enough. Like, yeah,
I'll miss it. He doesn't look like me anymore.
No, because I was looking at the flashback things. I was like, did he ever look that young? But I think it's just in contrast to how he's been looking the past few episodes.
It's just a beard, man.
Once the beard comes off, he looks younger again.
Secret to teen boys: if you want to buy alcohol, grow a beard. That's how you do it.
You want to hide your shame from the world, grow a beard.
I've been asked for ID twice in my life, and both times I was really surprised. One time after I'd grey in my beard, what the fuck? I don't know what to do.
I continue to be slightly thrown off by the one character of the young hoodlums who has the tiny Tintin dot eyes compared to everybody else's eyes.
Like, I wonder if he's based on like an older character design or something.
That's what I wonder as well.
Yeah,
whether it's a reference to something from earlier Joes.
Yeah.
It's just it's super weird because a lot of the other characters are drawn far more realistically, possibly, than even the first season had them drawn.
But I did like Chief kind of getting where Joe is coming from. Was like, he's on those like cheap fucking, not over the counter, but like under the fucking counter painkillers, and I know what coming off those is like.
That used to be me, man.
Yeah. He was in.
And it was like they were going over their strategy for the race. It's like, you don't want to be fucked up when you get to the final match. So it's like, just like kind of cover up and then decide which way for your counter punch opportunity. And so that's cool because the gear, me and my son over at the run, think it's a Mara the catch and all this, but like Chief's gear he made it with his son. For a while it was just him and the son because the mother had passed away, and then the son followed not doing that because he was afraid of young lad. And
the son died in on the boat, they say.
The boat,
so it was like in the fucking crossing, which is fucking horrible. But his son built the gear to take a lot of fucking damage. Because that's the thing they point out. It's like, wow, you maintain this thing? It's amazing. It's like, no, his son built it to keep his dad safe. So it's built super defensively. So yeah, he can take a lot of hits with it and then hit when it's just right. And he takes out that first guy like a punk, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
It's a little tougher on the next fight, but he gets that fucking wicked-looking kidney shot into him.
Yeah. And Joe's advice with that was like, what was it? Like, you got timing because you knew how to like get at the just out of range of that blow of my fucking cross to make it non-fatal. So you know what range. Like, if you get in too close, like get punched before the full force of it's going to hit you, and then pretend to go down. That kind of thing. And it was like, so you got a really good sense of range in the ring. And I was like, oh, that's fucking nice. It's like I can see what abilities you have as a boxer, so you can use those to win a match rather than throw a match. Yeah.
Because the throwing of matches earlier on is also playing a part in that's allowing him to bet on himself and get better odds.
Yeah.
Again, it isn't about fucking pride or honor. It's about trying to survive, and there's dignity in surviving. Even and especially while people are coming around, smashing up your water pump, and they're spraying all kinds of like derogatory things and graffiti outside the walls. Who would do these awful things? Well, one of your own young lads for a start, because he's fallen in with a bad crowd.
Oh, he's one of us. Even the gangster like ruffling his hair and shit. I was like, this is disgusting.
It is. One that's like really putting him in for fun, passing old ladies and children outside the general store.
Yeah. Mm.
But I think that's also speaking to an immigrant experience of how do you escape your oppressors by becoming an oppressor yourself?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When the abuse gets passed down, it's cyclical. It's all you've known, so it's the only thing you know how to give on.
It's just horrible to see. Like, and I was kind of like, I keep thinking of that kid, you dumb motherfucking kid.
I know, it's fun, dumb. I think, you want Cheap to fucking set them straight. And as well as probably because Cheap is endured so such fucking hardship, so such kind of despair, is just, he doesn't want to fucking give in to that. He just wants to overcome this. He doesn't want to fund this, let whatever he has slip away from him.
Because like the first match is like they kind of come back and there's the graffiti all over the place, and Chief is just like, yeah, we'll just paint over it. And it's like the second match he comes back, the water pumps bust. He's like, Chief, you got to do something about this. He's like, yeah, I'll go get my tools. And they're kind of putting it all on him, and then you're kind of like, fucking, he doesn't need to take all this on his back. But by doing that, he kind of shows them the right way to do it, and then they all pitch in to fix the water pump and stuff. By being that beacon of hope that Joe kind of was to him when he was at his lowest. It's a really interesting way to show it. Really interesting way to do it.
Then their encampment gets burned down. Little fuckers
they move on to
Molotov
cocktails. Molotovs. Yeah. And when it was so like the stupid fucking little punk kid thing of their, like, one of them lobs one over and then a huge fire burst. So I was like, oh, let's get out of here before they throw any more. Like, they're just, it kind of just shows like the cowardliness of them and everything. It's just like, yeah, they're just fucking stupid fucking kids. Unfortunately, people are getting hurt because of them. Yeah.
And that's everything we watched this week.
Yeah, that's just about everything. Oh, what's it now? My goodness.
Right.
That's only 2 hours. That's about how long it took last time.
No, we didn't pay getting it in. It was just getting to watch is the trouble.
Well, I'm going to watch ODDTAXI again tonight. So I was a bit better at watching everything as they were coming out this week. So it wasn't too bad.
I got the timing in better because I knew I needed to.
It is. I wonder whether we need to do it from Sunday to Saturday rather than Monday to Sunday. That would alleviate it a little bit.
Yeah, it's I feel like I'm overstuffed, I think just for enjoyment's sake, because I feel like when you're trying to get it in so much, and we're falling into that trap of wanting to get in so much, is that you're not enjoying what you do get into the first week. No, gotta cram it in, gotta get it down me, nom 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 nom.
Yeah, it's the stuff on Sunday is the issue.
It's a big block of stuff.
You gotta pound it down. You got to the point age we don't really have time to really
next week.
It over.
Shall we just go to Saturday? So we'll just cover up to the 24th.
So that'll leave out.
That'll leave out Zenkaiger, Tropical-Rouge Precure, Moriarty The Patriot, Dragon Goes House Hunting, Megalobox.
That'll definitely make it easier because that's what is that?
I mean, we'll still have the following week, but we'll have a full week to get those 3 things watched.
Yeah.
Is that still 10 things?
Well, that still leaves like Dragon Quest.
Still
leaves Fruit Basket.
But it's taking the fucking bit of the edge off. I think that's probably the best way to do it. Moving the week, yeah.
Yeah, I can
Saturday to Tuesday rather than Sunday to Tuesday. I assume it is Tuesday next week. Niall,
Tuesday it is Tuesday the 27th. Yeah,
Tuesday the 27th then. Slightly less that week, and then the same amount again the following week, and then less the next week because VLADLOVE will have been over. Yeah.
I know VLADLOVE hasn't got much left in it, and I'm still fine with like pacing that one out.
Yeah. Of course, I'm watching one thing less than you guys are as well.
Of course.
But that's the problem of sequels.
I need
things you enjoy.
I need more time to watch Megalobox twice a week. That's my favorite thing that's airing. So I want more time to spend with it.
I need more time to stay up late, like rewatching episode 2 of ODDTAXI, and then watching episode 1 again, and then watching episode 2, and then going like grabbing screenshots from both and going like, okay, I got it all figured out.
That's the issue with ODDTAXI. It's not watching this week's episode twice. It's watching this week's episode and then having to go back to the previous episodes and join up the plots. Which I'm worried that Dynazenon will do the same. But at least Dynazenon seems to have less characters.
Yeah, it's a little more. The character interconnected map is going to be a lot fucking simpler.
Yes. Then Let's Go will turn into an Oliver Stone film.
Man, it's been a long time since I watched that. Who's got the bad wig in that? It's Joe Pesci's character's wig is constantly changing in position every shot.
Yeah.
To the point where I think we decided it was deliberate. I've not watched it since I was at university, but we could not stop. We could not stop discussing it every time he showed up on screen.
It would be a fun thing to do to just fuck with the continuity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did he miss Kevin Costner doing anime glasses for this angle? This is a reflection in the glasses. Yes. I was like, those are kind of cool when you do it in a film.
Right, yeah, that's your lot. That we shall be back next week,
Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Also, you can now follow. We've got a Twitter account.
Oh yeah,
just for the podcast at the Let's Go Gang.
Cool.
Because Let's Go Gang was already taken and had been suspended. I don't know.
What did we do?
I don't know.
Framed for a crime it didn't commit.
So yes, you could be the 5th follower on there.
I'm going to be there right now because I forgot.
Yes. Rightio, we'll be back next week with more of this nonsense. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Rightio.